My mom had got drunk. She's an alcoholic, and she was addicted to pills.
But my brother's in jail. Everyone, I got 3 brothers. 2 of them's in prison. 1 of them's in rehab. And it leaves me.
I am a drug addict, and I will be for the rest of my life, and that's something that I'll have to deal with forever.
You know the victims. It has become their way of life. If you think you are immune, you're not. This is the story of an entire generation suffering at the hands of addiction. To fully understand, we must listen.
My mom was always getting drunk and stuff, and she had tried to kill him once or twice before. I was asleep with him, and she'd walked in with a knife in her hand and jumped on the bed and told my dad, she said, "If you don't get me some beer, I'm going to kill you right now." She came down to the house and grabbed my dad's 12 gauge and pointed at his face, said, "Teach me how to shoot this thing now." Because I guess he'd ripped her off on some beer or something other. You know, alcohol, man, that stuff's killer. And she pointed at his face and said, "Show me how to work this thing now." And I was sitting there, I was crying, you know, "Mom, put it down, put it down." And she went up to my grandpa's house. She started ripping her hair out and beating her head against the steering wheel like an idiot, you know. And then she got out of the car, went up and told my grandpa that my dad had beat her up. To him, she said, "If you kill my husband, then I'll give you half of his life insurance." About 5 o'clock in the morning, my sister woke me up. He went up there and he'd shot him. And my sister woke me up. She said, "Your dad's dead." I just sat up and I just started crying and stuff, you know. I mean, I hated it because he's like my best friend. Whenever it happened, I just hated my mom with a passion. I really did. I mean, she's my mom and everything. I love her because she's my mom, but I hate what she did. You know, I always said if I ever got a chance to, you know, meet her or something, I'd punch her in her face, but that just get me in trouble.
My whole life, like, I never knew my dad that good. He passed away whenever I was 7, and the whole time he was never around me or my brother. He was always with his friends doing drugs, and I wish he would have been there more. It kind of hurts whenever I hear all my friends talking about their dads and how close they are with their dads and what all they do with them, and I don't have any stories to tell. My brother just got out of jail. He's been in and out of jail, and he got out of rehab a few years ago, but after my dad passed away, he started doing drugs, and about his senior year, he got really heavy into them, and he moved out, and we didn't talk to him for about a year, and he came home, and he had been on meth for so long that we didn't even recognize who he was. My brother got started really early, and I don't know if it was just because he was around it with my dad or if it was peer pressure or what it was, but he never really had a real father figure, and he never had anybody to tell him otherwise, like not to do it. So, and there's a lot of kids who do have a really bad home life, and they don't know what to do but turn to drugs. I don't ever want to touch drugs. I hate them. They've ruined my whole life. It kills me to see my friends turn out the way that they have, but I have had some bad friends that have went down the wrong path, and they're not doing too good right now. Well, they were some of the people that thought, "Oh, I'm only going to try it one time and I'll be fine after that," but it just didn't work out.
My grandfather is a Southern Baptist minister, and I had a great family. I have twin sisters that are 16 months younger than me. I was a cheerleader in high school, and the girls cheered with me, and my parents were amazing. They didn't drink or use. My grandfather would tell me, "If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything," and I didn't stand for anything. So whoever were the cool people and the in people, you know, I hung out with them, and they were older than me, and so I used, and it kept getting worse and worse and worse, and I became an addict. The first time I used Xanax. I snorted Xanax, which I didn't even know that people snorted stuff up their nose until that night. So the first time you use, it might feel good and it might feel great, and you might love it for a little while, but that feeling won't last, and the high won't last, and you'll never feel that high the first time you got high again. You keep using to chase that first high. You keep on using and using and using, and it escalates, and you hurt people, and you keep digging yourself deeper in this hole, and then finally you get to a point where you're just like, you know, I've screwed up so much and I don't know how else to live. So you're in it and you feel like you can't get out, and it's just a vicious cycle. So this last time I said, okay, I'm going to go to treatment. And if it doesn't work, I'm gonna use until I kill myself, because I can't live like this anymore.
Around here, I've seen it all. I've seen from shooting up to coke addicts, anything you want to hear, man. I've seen it all. Yeah, I've seen how they act on it. I've seen what they do. I've seen how people take Xanax and steal for a whole month and get caught and get sent to jail for the rest of their life. I mean, drugs kill you. I mean, there's no doubt about it. You get on them, feel for you. Yeah. It's hard to talk about it to somebody, man. But I want to talk about it. I want to get help. I mean, you know.
You got to.
Yeah.
You got to.
If you want help, you got to talk. And that's the only way you get help. If you talk.
Yeah, be honest about it.
That's what it is. The main thing is honesty.
My mom drank a whole lot when I was little, and when I started using, I even drank with her. I was probably 10 or 11 the first time I ever took a drink. I got a little buzz from it, you know, not much to do anything, didn't get drunk, and from that moment I wanted more. You know, and some people say that you're an alcoholic before you take the first drink, and obviously, you know, I mean, I wanted more from the first drink. It was Valium, the first one that I did. And then I took snorted a Xanax, and then just kept doing that. The first time I did it, I blacked out, you know, and didn't know what I did the whole day. And I always wanted to feel like that, always, because I just wasn't ever, it was like a big hole inside of me. There was just emptiness. And when I took the drugs, it filled it up for that moment. Because I always felt different, you know, like I wasn't good enough. And
aspirations to play in college. The fact that he's 5'10" doesn't help, but like being the son of a former Wildcat, Ross just takes it as another challenge.
You know, just because you're not 6'5", you know, run a 4.6 40 doesn't mean you can't play the next level. And you know, maybe, you know, putting up the numbers and delivering, you know, can maybe make the college coach.
My school, I didn't go to school. I got in trouble with the truants, you know, truant officers. And I mean, I would be in so much pain that I wanted to die, you know, and but I never knew I couldn't stop on my own. I needed help. Some people don't have to, but I couldn't stop. And I didn't understand what was wrong with me.
You've heard the stories. They're not fiction. This is reality.
We can't just sit by and watch it go on. There's so many ways to get involved. And I just wish that people could see all the ways that they can help. And I don't think that they realize that they can be of help. You know, they don't think one person makes any difference. Well, yeah, but if you have, 10 individuals and they tell somebody, then you've got a whole group of people that can actually make a difference. They might not know what's going to happen in the future, but for right now, they're not using. And they're proud of themselves because they're not using. And I think that that is a bright spot. And if we can just build on that, and maybe if they can pass that word on to one of their friends, it's not worth it, don't do it.